is incredible!
They dragged me through the mud while everyone laughed. My friend ordered guards to throw me out of the party like garbage. I was crying, humiliated, broken. Then a helicopter landed. And the billionaire who stepped out? He called me his wife. That mansion they were partying in? It was mine. Stay until the very end. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens when karma arrives in style. And if you love stories about justice and unexpected twists, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's begin. I should have known something was wrong the moment I opened that invitation. It was expensive, thick cream cardstock with gold embossed lettering. Amanda's birthday party, my childhood best friend, the girl I used to share secrets with under blanket forts, the one who knew all my dreams. We hadn't spoken much in the past few years. Life had taken us in different directions, or so I thought. But seeing that invitation made my heart warm. Maybe she wanted to reconnect. Maybe she missed our friendship as much as I did. I told Benjamin about it over breakfast. He was reading something on his tablet, probably another business report. My husband was always working, always thinking 10 steps ahead. Amanda's having a birthday party, I said, showing him the invitation. He glanced up, his gray eyes studying my face. "The friend from college?" he asked. I nodded. "Do you want to go?" There was something careful in his tone, like he was measuring my emotions. "I think I do," I said. "I miss her. I miss having friends who knew me before everything." Benjamin reached across the table and took my hand. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone, Scarlett. You know that, right?" I smiled at him. My husband understood me in ways no one else did. He knew I struggled with the sudden wealth, the lifestyle change, the way people treated me differently once they knew who I was married to. That's why I rarely told anyone. I wanted people to like me for me, not for my husband's bank account or properties or connections. "I know," I told him, "but I just want to see my old friend. Have a normal evening. Just be myself." He squeezed my hand. "Then go. Be yourself. That's all you ever need to be." He had to leave that morning for a business trip, some property acquisition upstate. He kissed my forehead before he left. "Call me if you need anything," he said. "Anything at all." I laughed. "It's just a birthday party, Benjamin." What could possibly go wrong? I should have listened to that tiny voice in my head telling me to stay home. The day of the party, I chose a simple cream-colored dress. Nothing fancy, nothing designer. I wanted Amanda to see me as her old friend, not as someone trying too hard. I spent the afternoon making her a gift, a handmade photo album filled with pictures from our college days, photos of us at football games, late-night study sessions, road trips we took with barely any money. I wrote little notes next to each picture, remembering the moments we shared. It took me hours, but it felt meaningful, real, the kind of gift that said, "I remember us. I remember who we were." When I arrived at the address on the invitation, my breath caught. It was a mansion, sprawling, elegant, with manicured gardens and a circular driveway. I knew the property, of course. Benjamin had purchased it 2 years ago. He told me it was just an investment, something to renovate and eventually sell. When Amanda mentioned she was struggling to find a venue for her birthday party, I'd offered to help. I called Benjamin, and he said she could use the mansion. "If it makes you happy," he'd said, "she can have her party there." I didn't tell Amanda it belonged to us. I just told her I knew the owner and could arrange it. She'd been so grateful, so excited. Now, looking at it all lit up with string lights and expensive decorations, I felt happy that I could help my friend have her dream party. But the moment I walked through those doors, I knew I'd made a terrible mistake. Amanda greeted me at the entrance, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Scarlett," she said, her voice cool, "you actually came." There was something strange in her tone, something I couldn't quite place. Behind her, I could see other guests, women in designer gowns, men in expensive suits. Everyone looked like they'd stepped out of a fashion magazine, and there I was in my simple cream dress and minimal jewelry. "Of course I came," I said, trying to sound cheerful. "Happy birthday, Amanda." I held out the gift I'd made. She took it without really looking at it, handing it off to someone behind her like it was an afterthought. "Come in," she said, but she didn't sound welcoming. She sounded inconvenienced. Inside, the mansion was transformed. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above, champagne flowed freely, and a live band played in the corner. It was beautiful, elegant, and I immediately felt out of place. Women in shimmering white gowns and glittering gold dresses turned to stare at me. I heard whispers, saw the looks. One woman, tall, blonde, wearing a dress that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent, walked up to Amanda. "Who's this?" she asked, looking me up and down like I was something stuck to her shoe. "This is Scarlett," Amanda said, "an old friend from college." The blonde woman, I later learned her name was Jessica, smiled, but it wasn't kind. "How quaint," she said. Then she turned back to Amanda, effectively dismissing me. I stood there, awkward and uncertain. Amanda gestured vaguely toward the back of the house. "Why don't you go outside to the patio? There are some seats there, drinks and everything." Outside? The party was clearly inside. The music, the people, the food, everything was happening in the main rooms. But I didn't want to cause a scene, so I nodded and made my way through the crowd, feeling everyone's eyes on me. I heard someone laugh, heard someone whisper, "Is she serious with that dress?" My cheeks burned, but I kept walking. The patio was nice enough, outdoor furniture, some heat lamps, but it was separate from the main party. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see everyone inside, laughing, dancing, enjoying themselves, and I was outside, alone. Well, not completely alone. There was an elderly woman sitting on one of the chairs taking a break. She was wearing a catering uniform. She smiled at me kindly. "They got you out here too?" she asked. I tried to smile back. "I guess so." I sat down, trying to convince myself it was fine. Maybe Amanda just wanted me to have some quiet space. Maybe she thought I'd be more comfortable out here. But deep down, I knew the truth. I'd been relegated, pushed aside, made to feel less than. It got worse. Jessica, the blonde in the expensive white gown, came outside after about 20 minutes. She had another woman with her, Brenda, wearing a stunning gold dress. They were both holding champagne glasses and looking at me with expressions that made my stomach turn. "So," Jessica said, sitting down across from me without being invited. "Scarlett, was it? How do you know Amanda again?" "We went to college together," I said quietly. "We were roommates freshman year." Brenda laughed, a sharp, cutting sound. "College, right. So what do you do now? Still studying?" There was mockery in her voice. "I work with children's literacy programs," I said. "I help run a charity foundation." It was true. I did run a foundation, one that Benjamin and I had started together, but I didn't mention that part. "A charity," Jessica repeated, exchanging a look with Brenda. "How sweet. So you're like, poor?" The word hung in the air like an insult. I felt my face flush. "I'm comfortable," I said carefully. "That's not really—" But Jessica cut me off. "It's just that everyone here, we're all doing pretty well. Amanda's friends are all successful. Lawyers, doctors, business owners. It's nice that she still remembers her humble roots." The message was clear. I didn't belong here. I wasn't good enough, successful enough, rich enough. Before I could respond, another woman joined them. Christine, wearing a beautiful peach designer dress. She was carrying a champagne glass, and as she walked toward our table, she accidentally stumbled. Champagne splashed all over my dress. I gasped, jumping up. The cold liquid soaked through the fabric, and I could smell the alcohol. "Oh my God," Christine said, but she was smiling. "I'm so clumsy. Sorry about that." She didn't sound sorry at all. Jessica and Brenda were laughing behind their hands. I stood there, wet and humiliated, as they walked away, still giggling. Through the window, I could see Amanda watching. Our eyes met for just a moment. I hoped, she might come out and check on me, ask if I was okay. But she just turned away and continued talking to her guests. That's when I realized the horrible truth. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. I had been invited here to be humiliated. The rain started about an hour later. At first, it was just a light drizzle, but it quickly became heavier. I was still outside on the patio, and while there was an overhang, the wind was blowing the rain sideways. I was getting wet, cold, and my champagne-stained dress was clinging to me uncomfortably. I knocked on the glass door, trying to get someone's attention. I could see everyone inside, warm and dry, having the time of their lives. Jessica saw me knocking. She walked right up to the door, looked me dead in the eye, and pulled the curtain closed. My heart sank. I knocked again, harder this time. Finally, Christine opened the door just a crack. "Yes?" she said, as if I were a stranger. "Can I come inside?" I asked, hating how small my voice sounded. "It's raining, and I'm getting soaked." She looked me up and down, then shrugged. "The party's kind of full right now. Maybe it's better if you just wait out here, or you could leave. No one would mind." She closed the door in my face. I stood there in the rain, shock and hurt washing over me in waves. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. Amanda, my friend, my college roommate, the girl I'd stayed up all night with during finals, the one I'd lent money to when she was broke, was letting this happen to me. She was letting her new friends treat me like garbage. I tried calling for a ride, but my phone was almost dead. The rain was coming down harder now, and I was completely soaked. I sat down on a wet bench, not caring anymore, tears mixed with rain on my face. I felt more alone than I'd ever felt in my life. Why had I come here? Why had I thought things could go back to the way they were? People change. Amanda had changed, and I was just a reminder of a past she wanted to forget. That's when things took a turn I never saw coming. Amanda suddenly came outside, but she wasn't alone. She had 2 security guards with her, large men in dark suits. "Scarlett," she said, and her voice was cold, hard, nothing like the girl I used to know. "I think it's time for you to leave." I stared at her, water dripping from my hair. "Amanda, please," I said. "What did I do? Why are you treating me like this?" She crossed her arms. "You don't fit in here. You're making my guests uncomfortable. This is a high-class event, and you're bringing down the atmosphere." "I'm your friend," I whispered, but even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true anymore. "We were friends," she corrected. "Past tense, people grow. They move on. I've moved on, Scarlett. Maybe you should too." She nodded to the guards. "Escort her off the property." "Now." Before I could react, the guards grabbed my arms, not gently. They started dragging me toward the front gate. I tried to pull away, but their grips were iron. "Amanda, please," I called out, but she'd already gone back inside. The doors opened, and I could see all her guests gathered there, watching. They had their phones out. They were recording, laughing. Jessica was front and center, her phone aimed right at me. "This is going viral," she called out gleefully. I was being dragged through the rain, through mud puddles, my dress torn and filthy. I could hear their laughter following me. Someone shouted, "Goodbye, charity case." Someone else yelled, "Should have stayed home." I was crying openly now, not caring who saw. I'd never felt so small, so worthless, so completely and utterly humiliated. The guards were pulling me through the muddy driveway, and I couldn't even stand properly. My knees hit the ground more than once, and by the time we were halfway to the gate, I was covered in mud. This was it. This was the lowest point of my life. My friend had orchestrated my public humiliation, and dozens of people were filming it for their entertainment. Then I heard it. A sound that cut through the rain and the laughter. A deep, thundering noise from above. The guards stopped, looking up. Everyone stopped. The sound grew louder, and suddenly, everyone was staring at the sky. A helicopter, flying low, circling the property. The wind from its rotors whipped the rain sideways and bent the trees. It was looking for a place to land. The guards released me, stepping back in confusion. I fell to my knees in the mud, too shocked to move. The helicopter descended into the large garden area, its lights blazing through the darkness. The party music had stopped. Everyone had come outside now, despite the rain, staring at this unexpected arrival. I heard Amanda's panicked voice. "What is this? Who authorized this? This is private property." The helicopter touched down, and for a moment, everything was still. Then the door opened. Benjamin stepped out. My husband, tall, commanding, wearing a perfectly tailored gray suit that somehow didn't seem affected by the rain or wind. His security team followed, 3 men in dark professional attire. But Benjamin's eyes were scanning the scene, and when they found me, kneeling in the mud, soaking wet, covered in filth, with tears streaming down my face, his entire expression changed. I'd never seen him look like that before. Cold, furious, dangerous. He strode toward me, and everyone instinctively moved out of his way. The guards who'd been dragging me looked terrified. Benjamin knelt beside me, his hand gentle on my face. "Scarlett," he said, and his voice was soft but laced with barely controlled anger. "I tracked your phone location. Tell me what happened. Tell me why you're like this." I couldn't speak. I was shaking, crying, in complete shock. He shrugged off his suit jacket and wrapped it around my shoulders, then helped me to my feet. He held me against him, shielding me from the stairs and the rain. Then he turned to face the crowd. His eyes found the security guards first. "Which one of you touched my wife?" he asked quietly. The 2 guards who'd been dragging me went pale. Your wife?" one of them stammered. "We didn't know, sir. We were just following orders." Benjamin held up a hand, silencing them. "Following orders to physically assault a woman. You're both fired. Leave this property immediately." Then his gaze moved to Amanda, who was standing frozen on the front steps. He walked toward her, still holding me close. "You must be Amanda," he said. His voice was calm, which somehow made it more terrifying. "The birthday girl." Amanda tried to smile, tried to salvage something. "I'm sorry, sir. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. I didn't know Scarlett was married, and I certainly didn't know—" "Didn't know what?" Benjamin interrupted. "Didn't know she was married to Benjamin Harrington? Didn't know she had value unless someone important was attached to her?" Amanda's face went white. I heard gasps from the crowd. Benjamin Harrington. The name meant something in this city. Real estate billionaire, self-made, Forbes list, owner of half the city's most valuable properties. Jessica's phone clattered to the ground. Christine looked like she might faint. Brenda was backing away, slowly. But Benjamin wasn't done. He pulled out his phone, brought up some documents, and held it up for everyone to see. "This mansion," he said, his voice carrying clearly through the rain. "The one you're all partying in. The one you've been using to celebrate and mock my wife. This property belongs to me." Complete silence. You could have heard a pin drop. Amanda's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "What?" she managed. "2 years ago, I purchased this estate," Benjamin continued. "I gave it to my wife as a gift. It's in her name. Scarlett owns this property. When she told me her friend needed a venue for a special birthday party, she asked if Amanda could use it. And I said yes, because my wife has a kind heart, a generous spirit. She wanted to help someone she thought was her friend." He paused, letting that sink in. I could see the realization dawning on every face, the horror, the shame. They had humiliated the owner of the house they were partying in. They had thrown her out of her own property. Amanda was shaking her head, tears streaming down her face. "Scarlett, I didn't know. I thought you were just— You thought she was nobody," Benjamin finished for her. "You thought she was beneath you, worth less than you, someone you could use and discard." He turned to address the entire crowd. "My wife has a master's degree in literature. She runs 3 charity foundations that have helped thousands of children. She's published 2 books. She chose simplicity because she values substance over appearance. She offered this mansion to Amanda freely without bragging or expecting gratitude, and this is how you all repaid her kindness, with cruelty, with mockery, with physical assault." Jessica tried to say something, but Benjamin's look silenced her. "I saw everything," he said. "The security cameras on this property? They're always recording. I watched you throw champagne on her. I watched you mock her. I watched you close the door in her face while she stood in the rain. I watched you record her humiliation. And I have all of it saved." Christine was frantically trying to delete videos from her phone. Brenda had started crying. The other guests were backing away, trying to disappear into the crowd, but there was nowhere to hide. "You have 1 hour," Benjamin said, his voice final. "1 hour to remove yourselves from this property. The party is over. If anyone is still here after that, I'll have you arrested for trespassing." Amanda fell to her knees. "Scarlett, please," she begged. "Please, I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. I was jealous. I was stupid. Please forgive me." But I just looked at her. This woman who I'd considered family, who I'd helped countless times, who I'd offered my home to, and who had repaid me with the worst humiliation of my life. "You didn't just make a mistake, Amanda," I said quietly. "You showed me exactly who you are. You had choices at every moment tonight, and you chose cruelty, every single time." Benjamin guided me toward the helicopter. As we walked, I saw the elderly catering lady, the one who'd been sitting outside with me earlier. She smiled at me and gave a small nod, a look of understanding. She'd seen everything, she'd known. And somehow, that small moment of human kindness meant more than anything else. Benjamin helped me into the helicopter, and as we lifted off, I looked down at the mansion below. People were scrambling, running to their cars, arguing with each other. Amanda was sitting on the steps, her head in her hands. Her perfect party had become a nightmare. "How did you know?" I asked Benjamin as we flew away. "How did you know to come?" He took my hand. "I always check the security feeds on our properties, just a habit. I saw what was happening, and I got on the first helicopter I could find." He touched my face gently. "I'm sorry I wasn't there sooner. I'm sorry you went through that." I leaned against him, exhausted and emotionally drained, but also strangely at peace. "You taught me something tonight," I told him. "What's that?" he asked. "That my value doesn't depend on other people seeing it. It exists whether they acknowledge it or not." He kissed the top of my head. "You've always known that, Scarlett. You just forgot for a moment. But you'll never forget again." He was right. I wouldn't. The next week was surreal. The story went viral, not the version Jessica and Christine had wanted to post, but the real version. Someone at the party had recorded Benjamin's speech and posted it. The headlines read, "Woman humiliated at party, didn't know she owned the mansion." My phone exploded with messages. Amanda sent dozens of apology texts, long paragraphs of excuses and regret. I didn't respond. Jessica, Brenda, and Christine all deleted their social media accounts entirely, unable to face the backlash. But I didn't feel victorious. I just felt sad. Sad that friendship had meant so little. Sad that people could be so cruel. Benjamin surprised me with a quiet dinner at our real home, the penthouse we actually lived in. Just the two of us. Simple food, soft music, no cameras, no crowds, no judgment. "You never have to prove yourself to anyone," he said again. "I know," I replied. And this time, I really did know. Sometimes the people who should cherish you are the ones who test you most. I learned that true friends don't need proof of your worth. They see it naturally. And those who measure you by appearances, they reveal their own emptiness. Karma doesn't always arrive in a helicopter, but when it does, it's unforgettable. If this story resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe for more Real Talk stories. Share this with someone who needs the reminder that your value isn't determined by others' opinions. Drop a comment telling me, have you ever been underestimated by someone only to prove them wrong? I read every single one. See you in the next story.